Hey, everybody, this is Michael Whalen, and this is the Artist Expansion Podcast. This is episode number 18. And let me start today by thanking everybody for all the support. For the first 17 episodes, we're just about at 1 million views on YouTube. So thank you. And thank you so much for, the nice, enthusiastic comments and people spreading the word. And there you go. So my job is to empower you guys with the best information that I can provide and to be straight with you about what's happening and to, say, it's tough out there, but it is possible to be successful. It is possible to build an audience. It is possible to do this away from a label and away from, the controls of things. There's so many tools at your disposal that you can be successful. And, if you want some help, I'm here to help you. You can go to artistexpansion.com. You can check out what I do with my artist development company. I do everything from strategy, marketing, social media, content creation. I help people finish their records, mix records, fix things, arrange things, design covers, do music videos. I love doing music videos. But the bottom line is that I'm here, and I'm here as a resource on this channel. I'm here as a resource if you want to hire me, if you want to ask me advice, here to help. So today is a little bit different in as much as that, every once in a while, I'm just going to take all the questions that I get from all the different social media platforms that I have, and I'm going to kind of put them together and then answer them and put them all in one place. Here's the place. So 40 questions about music business from online, and I'm going to do quick answers. And there's lots of places to go and get more information about any one of the things that I'm going to talk about today. My favorite book on the music industry is Donald Passman's. I've used it as a textbook, as a professor. I've recommended this book 100 times. I still use it as a resource. So that's a really good place to start in terms of having a really great bulletproof information about what's happening in music business. All right. Question number 1. What is music publishing? Now, this is a question I get all the time. So the short answer is try to ignore the word publishing if you can. And it's not publishing like you're printing a book. It's more like administering your copyrights. So it's the business of managing your copyrights, administering your copyrights, making sure that you're getting the payments you're supposed to, making sure that your copyrights are protected, and doing what you need to do to defend yourself in a situation where someone steals your material, whether they're doing it intentionally or not intentionally, which is a big thing right now, unintentional copying of other people's material. So music publishing is you being an administrator of your work. There you go. What does a music manager do? Okay, so a music manager guides your career. They help you make choices. They negotiate deals. They oversee the business affairs of your life. In many situations, whether it's a label or you're going to go on tour or whatever, a label doesn't want to talk to you, the artist. They really don't. Because they can't be honest. They can't negotiate hard because they're afraid they're going to hurt your feelings. And then, it becomes like a whole kind of weird thing. So a manager is standing in for you when it comes time to negotiate. And a great manager is somebody who is not just part of the team, but they really are the team. What is a 360 deal? Okay. A 360 deal is a deal that takes in every part of an artist's life, from selling t-shirts to concert tickets to album sales to streams to doing ancillary licensing deals to everything. 360 deal. And very often, if you get a major label record deal, it will be a 360 deal. And they will say, okay, we will get a piece of every part of your life, but we will also help you create every part of your life. If you're not making t-shirts for your shows, we're going to help you do that. So 360 deals 10 years ago were all the rage and everybody was doing them. Not as much now. It's become much more complicated in terms of that. And so if somebody is offering you a 360 deal, please get help in terms of what it actually means for you in the right now and in the long term. Please, please, please. There's a lot of moving pieces with a 360 deal. What is sync licensing? So sync licensing is when somebody licenses your music, the recording and the publishing for a film, television, ad, video game, corporate presentation, blah, 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 blah. That is a sync license. So sync is short for synchronization. So your music in synchronization with a video, sync license. Okay. What is a PRO? A PRO is a performing rights organization. So in the United States, that is ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. In the UK, it's PRS. In Canada, it's SOCAN. Those are the ones I can do off the top of my head. But having a PRO is absolutely essential in terms of being like a real live person in the world. So you want to make sure that you're registered as a writer and a publisher member of a PRO. Some of them have some different stipulations in terms of what you have to do to qualify. Make sure you understand what they are. There you go. What is the difference between a major and an indie label? I could do this for an hour, but I'm going to do a really short answer. So major labels are global reach. They have lots of funding. They have lots of resources that they can pull on. And an indie is smaller. And in many cases, they are much more niche in terms of the kind of music they do, the kind of marketing they're doing, what kind of communities they're going to. So major label is broader, much more money, resources, budgets, all that stuff. Independent labels, not so much. What is a music distributor? Okay, so really I should do, what is the difference between a distributor and an aggregator? So a distributor is a company that delivers your physical product to retail. So it's a company that would send your stuff to Amazon, blah, blah, blah. An aggregator is a company that sends your digital albums and materials to platforms. Aggregator is digital, distributor is physical. What is a mechanical royalty? Okay, so the short version of this is it is a US federal government stipulated payment paid to songwriters and publishers for physical and digital song reproductions. So a mechanical payment. So the bottom line is it mostly happens on things like I buy a download of your record on iTunes. So whatever number of songs, there's going to be a mechanical paid from the money I've paid for the album. There is something called a digital streaming mechanical, which Sound Exchange is doing. That is way more complicated to explain, so I won't do that right now. But a mechanical, in its classic sense, is payments for the sale of your music. What is an advance? Okay, so it is upfront money that a record label or a publisher pays you for your work. So that could be an advance to make an album, an advance as a publishing deal, an advance for administering your catalog. It could be, you could get an advance from a promoter if you're going to do a big tour and you need money to, get your act together. Sometimes for big tours, they'll cover some money up front and then, you'll pay them back over a percentage of your concert sale tickets. So, let me say this. I have gotten some very big advances. unless you are going to get a life-changing amount of money, it's not worth it. Like life-changing, like you could buy a house, life-changing amount of money. It's not worth it. So like if someone's going to pay you $3,000 or $5,000 and all of a sudden you're tied up in a contract for years, forget it. Just figure out another way of doing it. What is an EPK? An electronic press kit. So it's something that you send to the media, to the press, that has your one sheet and it's got all the information about you, the people you play with, blah, 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 blah. EPKs are less of a thing now than they used to be. You want to try to keep it as simple as possible because press people are inundated with material. So you want to try to keep it as simple as possible. One sheet, video link, go, there you go. What does copyright protect in music? Okay, so when you copyright something, the recording, it will also copyright the notes and or lyrics to your song. So if you do an SR form for the Library of Congress, you will be protecting the recording and you will be protecting the notes and the words. Some people say, well, the minute I record it, it's automatically copyrighted, right? Using the 1976 Copyright Act? Yeah, sort of. To really copyright it, you got to do a form. To really copyright it and really have it be protected, you got to do a form. How long does a copyright last in the United States? So it's the life of the author plus 70 years. So, and then after that point, then the work, the song, the thing, goes into what they call the public domain. Can you copyright a beat? Yes, you can copyright a beat. This is a legal technical term if it is original and fixed in a tangible form. So let me say it like this. So if you're going to do a beat based out of recordings and things that you have put together yourself, and then you're going to send in an SR form for that beat, you're good. What is fair use in music? Fair use is a term that I hate so much, and I will answer this question under protest. So fair use is the limited use of a copyrighted work without permission under strict rules. So if you are at all interested in getting around people's copyrights using it under what you're calling fair use, just forget it now, please. So fair use is very, 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 very specific. And you're probably not using this material under the what they call the three prongs of fair use. So just forget it. Thanks. What is a copyright split sheet? So in other episodes of the podcast, I have talked about having a collaboration agreement with people that you work with, which is also a split sheet. Basically, it just says, you write down what the split is in the song. Okay, so I get 50%, you get 50%. I get 70%, you get 30%. Where it gets complicated are songs where there's 5, 10, 15, 20 songwriters. Like, look at how many people have worked on some stuff for Beyonce and other people. It's like, it's ludicrous. And so negotiating the splits and who gets what and who, like, yes, you were in the room. Does that mean you're now a songwriter on this? It gets complicated. So please work this out before stuff comes out and before like money starts coming in, please. What does A and R mean? Artist and repertoire. So in the classic label structure, A&R people were talent scouts, and they were the point of contact for artists at labels. What is streaming revenue? It's kind of like the answers in the question, but it's okay. It's the revenue that you get from, wait for it, streaming. Thank you. thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. No, seriously, it is the revenue that you get from streaming. The problem with a lot of people is they tend to lump streaming revenue into one pot of money instead of breaking it up into different types of income. And it's something that I've seen with young people a lot. And what tends to happen is that it's like, okay, well, here's the money that I got for this. And it's like, what is it? What source did this come from? I don't know. So a song, a recording, an album, a single, an EP will have 2, 3, 4, 5 different kinds of income. You need to keep them separate to make sure that you are getting every microcent that you're supposed to be getting. If you put this into one big pile of money, you'll never know that. What is a master recording? Okay, so a master recording is the final version of your recorded track or album or EP. So it's whatever the final mix, master, blah, blah, blah. So that is the master recording. So some people say, well, it's the recording after it gets mastered. Okay. But if you say it like that, it starts getting complicated. What is chart eligibility? Okay, so there are rules that determine if your release can appear on the Billboard charts. And there's certain qualifications. Go look them up. It's actually on the Billboard website. And you can check it out and see if your release qualifies to be on the charts. What is a touring writer? So you are on tour. And very often it is like a contract addendum. It's the thing after the main contract that basically is talking about like what a artist needs in terms of like, I don't know, hospitality, food. Sometimes it has technical stuff on there. Especially if you're going to go from venue to venue to venue and you're going to have a different sound system every night. So, those technical writers become very important, but that is what a touring writer is. What is a booking agent? A professional who secures live performances for you. What does a artist development deal involve? Okay, so artist development deals can be tricky because it can be everything from your parent's friend gives you $500 so you can cut something in the studio, to an angel investor, to a small label gives you an advance as an artist development fund so you can start getting your material together. So basically, it is an investment in your career in exchange for something, some percentage of the deal, or you're going to be with them for a certain amount of time. Sometimes it's both, stuff like that. What is a music supervisor? A person who selects and licenses music for film, television, advertising, video games. What is the role of a music publicist? So it is a person who manages media coverage. Now, there is less and less and less music press out there. So this becomes kind of a funny thing, but it is somebody who can help you with press releases and send things out for review and go to places who may or may not want to interview you and your local paper, blah, blah, blah. What is a backline? So a backline are instruments that you need for a live performance. So very often if you go to a venue and you're touring and you're like in a little car someplace, and you don't have room to bring a PA and drums and a keyboard setup and whatever, you ask the venue if they have a back line and what is in their back line. So sometimes it's a drum set, it's amps, it's a piano, organ, something, and monitors, stuff like that. So Sometimes you can rent a backline and tour with that. Sometimes you can go to a place and have a backline provided for you. It really depends on the situation. What is tour support? Financial help from a label. It can be from a manager. It can be from an investor to help for a live performance or for a group of performances or for a tour. What is a vanity label? Holy bananas. It is a vanity label is a imprint label under the umbrella of a bigger label. So, there's been lots of vanity labels that have done very well. Like maybe one of the most famous is Maverick. Madonna started Maverick at Warner Brothers. She did incredibly well with it. That was technically a vanity label, even though it did really, really, really well. What does the word recoupable mean in a contract? It's a big one. Recoupable means money that must be paid back to the label or the publisher or whoever gave you the money before any further money is paid or any profits are split. So very often, if you get an advance, that is going to be recoupable at whatever your royalty rate is. So if you get $10 from the label, I'm using small numbers. If you get $10 from the label and you have a 10% royalty, you are going to wait to get back that $10 at that 10% royalty before you can begin to get any more money from that deal. I hope that helps. What is a music catalog? A collection of songs owned by an artist, a publisher, a record label, stuff like that. What is a showcase? Showcases are cool. I like showcases. Showcases are a showcase is a live performance designed to introduce you to industry professionals, possible people who will book you, music supervisors, film people. Some of the best showcases I've ever been to have been at film festivals. So like at Sundance and Toronto Film Festival and other places that I've been, I've gone to some great showcases where bands get up and perform and they introduce themselves to a bunch of film and TV people. It's pretty cool. What is a derivative work? Okay, so a derivative work is a piece of music. It's actually any content, but let's stay in the musical realm. It is a piece of music that is based on or created from the original. So there's the original piece of work, and then there's a derivative work. So very often, if you sign a publishing deal, they will prohibit you from making derivative works, even of your own material, so you will not get around them in terms of making money or, getting it licensed or whatever. So derivative works are something that very often go into a contract that says, you can't do that. What is a work for hire? Big conversation here. So it is music that is created under a contract where the person who hires you, the person who employs you, owns the copyright. So in my life, very often it's going to be for a commercial. It'll be for a TV theme. It'll be for maybe a TV score. It kind of depending on what the deal is. And so you get something called a work for hire agreement. And basically you're signing over all your rights, including the writer. So yes, you'll get credit for creating the music, but you won't get any royalties on it. So here is the $1.27 that we're paying you for the score. That's all you're getting. Bye. So when you sign work for hire agreements, just be careful. Do you want to be signing over all the rights? So very often when I negotiate with people, your rights as a composer, the writer rights and the publishing rights, become currency in a conversation. So maybe they're not paying you a lot of money. So you say, okay, then I'm keeping the publishing and I'm keeping 100% of the writers. Bye. So you really want to make sure that before you start signing work for hire agreements and you get into that, you're very sure what you're signing and why you are signing it. What is copyright infringement? Holy bananas. I remember seeing this and I laughed out loud. What is it? Okay, so here is the very short answer. Copyright infringement is the unauthorized use of a copyright. So somebody is using your song without your permission. Somebody re-recorded your song. Somebody used it in a TV show or a commercial without your permission. That is copyright infringement. What is a cue sheet? It is a document, usually a spreadsheet. It is a document listing all the music used in a film or a TV show for royalty tracking. So if you look at all the columns, it's going to be the name of the cue, the location of the cue, the length of the cue, who wrote the cue, blah, 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 blah. And then you'll see for some TV shows, for an hour, you might have 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 pieces of music. Some of them are really short. Some of them are, source cues that go whipping by. Some of them are whatever. But in terms of getting paid performance royalties for the work that you do for film, TV, cue sheets are everything. So you really want to make sure that the cue sheets are correct and that they get out the door and they get where they're supposed to be going. What is music clearance? It is the legal process of getting the rights to use music in any kind of media. So remember a bunch of questions ago, you asked what a sync license is? Okay, so music clearance is the sort of the legal part of dealing with a sync license. Hey, I really like this song. Okay, so now I've got to actually clear it for use. And that makes sure that there's permissions and everybody understands what's going to happen and that there's an agreed to amount of money, blah, 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 blah. Okay. What is playlist pitching? Submitting music to curators for inclusion on streaming playlists. Okay, I am not a big proponent of those companies that do playlist pitching and your stuff ends up on 100 like weird sort of random playlists and it doesn't really do anything for you. So there are other ways to get your stuff like noticed, but actually one of the best ways is to get social media traction. Because the way the algorithm works for Spotify is they start seeing how much activity you have going on online in general, plus your music, plus, 15 or 20 other things. So just be careful about how things are pitched to places like Spotify. It can get dicey. What is a radio promoter? It is a person or company that works to get songs played on the radio. There you go. What is the difference between ASCAP and BMI? So we said before, what's a performance royalty organization? So ASCAP and BMI are two of the three in the United States. So they are competitors and they offer different things in terms of services and things. And there's people who believe that ASCAP is a more songwriter-driven kind of company and that BMI is a more sort of composer, score sort of oriented company. I think that's less true now than it was maybe 10 or 20 years ago. But see what they're offering and see what you like. What is music metadata? Oh, mucho importante. Metadata, so important. It is the data that is embedded in digital files that identifies the track and the rights holders. So if you have a recording, obviously the most important part of the metadata is the ISRC number, and then the track name, and then the composer, and then the length, and then all the stuff that goes along with it, publishing information, all that stuff. So metadata, very important. One of the things I think that is really been great is that you really can't get things uploaded and sent to through aggregators without getting 100% of the metadata in correctly. In the early days of music streaming, it was a mess, much less so now. What is the role of an entertainment attorney? And this is the last question. So entertainment attorneys are great. And if you have one that you trust and you have somebody that you respect in terms of, whatever they're going to suggest, they're going to be an advisor, they're going to, I think more than anything, I think what an attorney does, it's sort of like how we started this conversation. If they go into a negotiation, then the company that you want to talk to isn't talking to you. They're talking to a third party. And, it might be better and easier for you to be making a deal using an attorney rather than you trying to walk in and do it yourself. So they negotiate for you. But more than anything, they can also talk about what is typical. Okay, so you're a brand new artist and you're a major label and they're offering you this dinky little royalty. Well, it's the same dinky little royalty that they offer all brand new artists. And you can go, okay, so if I do really well, maybe on my first, release or so, then maybe we can have a conversation about changing it. Sounds great. So I think attorneys can be real partners and be really important parts of your team in terms of getting the word out. They can call people that they know, they can negotiate for you, they can give you advice, and more than anything, they can, quiet your head as it's screaming at you. So I really hope there's my 40 questions. I really hope this has helped. I'm going to do this again soon, and thanks for everything.